this divine court hearing, it is involving any energies coming from the all of infinity that are connected to the earth. This could include entities, spiritual wickedness in higher dimensions, spiritual wickedness in other dimensions, obviously Satan. This could include the negative extraterrestrials, down to any human vessels, consciousnesses connected to this earth, past, present, and future. Because again, we're talking about according to science. I am my forefathers and my foremothers. We share the same genetic records. We share through the DNA. I am, and that's in the Holy Quran Circle 7, More Science, Temple of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It's right there. I am my forefathers and my foremothers. So any sorrow and regret surrounding them, it is because of the universal law of one. It directly affects this vessel consciousness, etc., divine, etc. So this is what this divine court hearing and lawsuit is regarding, because it comes in a countless forms and avenues. So we covered under this divine court hearing petition, this divine legal proceeding, we are petitioning for the removal. Who are we petitioning? Well, we are petitioning the great God universal Allah, infinity. That's who. That is the judge of all. That is the only judge. And the same way a judge, I don't know too much about those proceedings and those affairs and court cases, but a judge being an authority to decide which debt over here gets discharged, right? I guess that's the word. Look, I haven't even been in this world. I have not been in this world. I've been, I'm one of the vessels that, to a high enough degree to be approved, to be in right standing with the great God universal Allah. I came out of the world. I came out of the world that was created by Satan. I came out of that to a large enough degree to be in right standing with the great God universal Allah's command, come out of her, my people. Her being the great whore, the reincarnation of Babylon, Rome, these with the pale skin beast, the pale skin oppressor, beast referring to the serpent, the dragon, the devil, Satan, right? They have the beast consciousness. These are satanic empires and kingdoms. And the great God called her people, come out of her, my people. The great whore being capitalism, commercialism, consumerism. What is it? About a sweat of your brow, blood, sweat, tear, your brow, what? You get it. In exchange for your pure positive life force energy, the great whore, pimps and hoes, was that Satanic Kingdom Empire. Great God warned these sheep, come out of her, my people, so that you do not be a partaker in her sins. Sins of what? Murder. How many innocent or just, people are murdered for purposes of war? The indigenous, how many indigenous were murdered by this pale-skinned beast? The European. Come out of her, my people. What people? Sounds like the great God, universal Allah, is talking about the people with the highest concentration of melanin, pure positive life force energy. The hue, the pigment, the hue, melanin. Come out of her, my people, so you do not be a partaker in her sins. Some of these sins absolutely be in capitalism, commercialism, consumerism, because we know that we come here with nothing but a vessel that the great God gifted us, and we leave with nothing but our record, memory, and consciousness and energies. We don't leave here with anything physical. So these idols that have been created by this beast system, the great whore, the reincarnation of these satanic, pale skin, oppressor nations, dominions, come out of her, my people, so you do not be a partaker in her sins, because that's what it's going to be looking like. That's if this is where, because the great God, universal Allah, said it. You cannot serve two masters. Your pure positive life force energy is going to go to one. And that's what I'm seeing this play out, man. I can't get my nation to, I'm saying the ones that I come across, I can't get them to leave the great horror alone. Like, yo, I did it, and again, I never toot my own horn, because the great God literally dragged me by my fucking tail on this shit. Literally, like, yo, you belong to me. You're my vessel. You ain't getting away. Drug me. But nonetheless, being the Jonah, the great God would not let me settle in this place. And I didn't see it at the time. Praise who? Praise who? Praise who? There's so much joy that wells up in me when I even say that, when I say it. Praise who? Great God, universal Allah. Because I didn't see it back then. I didn't see it back in like 2019 and shit like that. When I'm like, oh, I just started a career, dude. Like, oh, I just started a trucking career, and great God snatched me out of that in no time. The great God would not let me settle anywhere here. Now I'm seeing why. Praise who? They even got the self-driving trucks. All of it would have been for naught. Just for them to tell a motherfucker, you got to take the mark of the beast, lest you can't buy or sell. What? I'm saying for them that, they didn't went to school for about probably 10 years when you involve in everything to be doctors and lawyers, and now artificial intelligence. can do their jobs. Robots can do surgeries. And I don't know who that was. I don't know if that was Elon or which one of the satanic world leaders was talking about the advantages of having the robot surgeon versus the human, because it significantly, I don't know why, what percentage and all that shit, but it significantly reduces like things like the malpractice lawsuits and the mistakes that a human surgeon is subject to just by being a human. Whether we're talking about them, you know, in debt. I mean, we don't know the effects when we're talking in relation to malpractice that could even stem from the debt that they're in. I don't know the statistics of how long that it actually takes to pay off that kind of debt. We don't know the effects on a consciousness and in relation to malpractice incidences, or that could lead them to all types of corruption. You know, they may be talking about law of cause and effect. It could make them do compromising things, recommending or prescribing. These are just a few scenarios. Prescribing drugs that may impair people. They shouldn't have prescribed it, but they want to increase the revenue. We don't know how this is affecting some malpractice cases. I know someone personally that they had something, an instrument or something, left in their body from having a surgery. We don't know, if the debt is causing them to even do drugs, and maybe we don't know what could come of these things. So, that's on a record. Basically, it will be no need for any human job. Maybe a couple, but doctors are being replaced by robots. That's going on. That's on a record. And they are giving the benefits, like saying that it's actually more error-proof to have a robot, like just say as a doctor. Then you got the AI lawyer, things like that. So, look, I didn't know back then why the great God would never let me settle in this place, but you will not be able to buy or sell unless you take the mark of the beast. Mark of the beast. What is the beast? Well, the beast is described in the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Moorish Science Temple of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The beast is described in there. It's the 101 questions for Moorish children. 100 and 101, one of them. I'll just paraphrase everything. I've been in real world simulations, thus I have not been a sit-down student. So I paraphrase everything and all that, whatever information is coming in, I'm paraphrasing for the most part. But it gives the names of the beasts, because we're talking about in the script, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. The mark of the beast. What is the beast? The beast consciousness. That is the consciousness of lower self. That is enemy to the great God, universal Allah. That is enemy to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice for all. That is enemy to the divine heart and the divine mind and the unification of such. unifying the divine mind with the divine heart. That means that's as above, so below. That's where your love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is made manifest on this earth. Sans getting that, having to sell your soul to Satan. Like, how Satan came to Yahushua, like, worship me and I give you this, give you that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about these gifts from the great God, universe, Allah, through the unification of the divine heart and the divine mind, as above, so below. Heaven on earth. That is not attainable with the consciousness of the beast, because the consciousness of the beast, you have to do lower self things to attain such. Anything you get, it has to be attained through Satan. When you take the mark of the beast, or you are operating from the beast consciousness, because that is the lower self. That is the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, the pride of life. That is Satan. That's the consciousness of Satan. That is a fear-based consciousness. And that is enemy to the divine consciousness, the universal consciousness. It's like one is focused on me, and one is focused on lower self. One is focused on higher self, great God, universal Allah. So that's why the great God, universal Allah, would not let me settle here. Would not let me settle here. Because you will not be able to buy or sell unless you take the mark of the beast. Oh, two kitties, a black and an orange one. Running down the street together. That's funny. Right. The mark of the beast, that is basically the consciousness, a mark of the lower self. You shall leave here as lower self, as the beast consciousness, as an enemy to the great God, universal Allah. That's going to care. I don't know how many lifetimes one would have to transmute every record, memory, energy that is fear-based to redeem, be reconciled, get your soul back, get your pure positive life force energy back, your consciousness back. I do not know that, because that's dependent on everyone's book of life. Their every thought, word, and deed. So have fun with that, with those incarnations, man. Have fun with them shits. Not worth it. Not worth it over here. For what? For controlled simulations, smart food, smart chips, smart brains, and all that shit, and being controlled by a command center or a data center. However that chooses to go. Centralized database, motherfucker run up on you. Yo, give me your hand. And then they scan your shit. Your whole, this person got such and such strikes or whatever. Hit the kill switch. Motherfucker just drop. I don't know how that shit gonna go, but that shit gonna be crazy. That shit ain't worth it. This person has such and such amount of strikes. Cause if Elon was saying about you be able to hit, I don't know exactly how he said it, like you will be able to control shit like with your mind, like artificially though. So yeah, they're gonna be able to, they have the technology to read minds, to read thoughts. They been doing that shit on me. I can hear myself. I can hear my thoughts. Them broadcasting the shit. But it's going to be amplified because we're talking about universal law of one. This earth Right now, this earth is operating from the divine mind, the consciousness, the great God, universal Allah. We have to remember they are the shadow type. They are the shadow type. The beast is the it's the shadow of the lower self, the negative polarity. So they have, if a new earth, age of Aquarius, is operating from the positive polarity, the divine mind, the divine consciousness, that is the universal law of one. All is one. That's the consciousness that this current age, with the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth, will refer to as the world, right? Not Hebrew, not being translatable into English in extremely low frequency, right? But nonetheless, they still talking about an eon, a world created in an eon. Well, that is the universal law of one. All is one. Right now, all is one. So our shadow, the beast, the negative polarity, they are the same of the opposite polarity. So they are operating from that consciousness as well. All is one. So all will be under one centralized, unified, digital consciousness, artificial consciousness, digital consciousness, operated from a centralized, unified, digital database, from a data center. All will be controlled. This will be I believe I don't know if the Antichrist shall be just one person, or it shall be like how they describe in the Purge. Oh, we have new founding fathers or some shit like that. Or if the Antichrist is representing these data centers. No, there's no love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. There's no freedom. All is controlled by one, the beast consciousness. Whatever laws, rules are going out from that database, that data center database, all operate under that, or you will not be allowed in that society, and it will be controlled by your microchip. That's how one will be controlled, through a microchip. What, for some lab smart food, nanoplastic food? This food out here is looking it's looking faker by the day. It seems like that shit's getting crazy. I seen some shit today. I'm like, I can't even tell. Is that real food, or is that fake food, or is that plastic food? Because I saw some videos on, like, over in China, how it's like plastic lettuce and shit, plastic rice and shit. You don't know what the you out here eat. You don't know if it's plastic. I don't know how true that is, but I heard like the smart water, smart popcorn, if it has smart in it, I heard, I don't know, that it has the artificial intelligence in it, maybe like the nano plastics in it. That's just personally what I heard. I don't know. I'm not sure though. Like, I never did the actual research and the study of these things. It's just information that came across me. If it has the smart in it, it has like the nano plastics or the nanotech in it. So I assume that's how the beast world, the beast system will be operating. Will it be a crime to grow your own fruits, vegetables? Because I'm hearing a lot of stories about farmers being targeted. Will that be a crime during that time? Will it be crime to eat natural foods? Well, I've seen evidence of that. What's it, a Codex L something? Codex Elum. I don't even know the word of it. I don't know. I came across that a long time ago or whatever. Like, basically banning certain herbs and things like that. And I did a video about the neem, the miraculous effects, I'm saying, on myself from just the neem plant, the 100% cold processed neem that Lowe's Plantation had in there. And as soon as I did that video, them motherfuckers took that shit down. Them motherfuckers took that shit down. I mean, they took it out of the stores, all the stores. To this day, I cannot find it in the stores. Divine Court Hearing and Transfer. If that, because the records are getting pulled. The records, every time I call Divine Court Hearing on that matter, the records get pulled and more is transferred from it, because clearly it still affects my consciousness negatively. So anytime I have a negative feeling about that, I'm calling in the Divine Court Hearing and a divine transfer, because that was a situation in which my prayer positive life force energy was stolen by an entity in the form of a Lowe's Plantation. And if this had to do with the satanic network, gang stalking, again, totally removing all of the neem from the stores, because they have other neem, but it's not the 100% cold processed, in its most natural and raw form, which the great God Universal Allah told me to use, because it either deactivates or kills the negative gram organisms, right? Now, we know that with the nanotechnology, it's being connected to the nanotechnology. The nanobots are negative microorganisms mixed with what? Electricity, electrical grids, you saying like fungi and whatever all's in it. It having a consciousness, because microorganisms have a consciousness. Having a negative consciousness, but nonetheless having a consciousness. And that what neem does, that I don't know if it's like anti-parasitical and anti-fungi, whatever. That killing it at its root, at its source. I experienced the miracles for myself. And when I did the video, all of a sudden, it's taken out of the stores. And me trucking, I had the opportunity at that time. I had the opportunity to go from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, aka state to state, and go personally in the different Lowe's and see that it's not in there. It's not in the stores. So Divine Court Hearing and Transfer. I don't believe in coincidences. Because I know them at the very motherfucking least, the entities was definitely listening on that video. I did it right in the Lowe's. I absolutely, I coat my nose. Dip of a fingertip or a Q-tip. Swab it like the COVID swab. I swab it. So much that I'm saying not so much, but same way you do a COVID swab, I do that with the neem. I can taste it in my throat. So it's like literally just traveling. Yeah, you know how miraculous that is for the body. This is what the great God instructed me to do when I go outside, because of these negative microorganisms. Breathing in shit that you don't even know what you're breathing in. Oh yeah, in my ears too. I've seen the miracles. I've experienced the miracles. And when I spoke on it, it was removed from the Lowe's Plantation. So again, Divine Court Hearing and Transfer, because this will, obviously this will be. This does not just affect my vessel, my consciousness. I call on the collective, be a part of these divine court hearings and proceedings that result in divine transfers. Any from the all time and space of infinity, animate or inanimate, multidimensionally chosen by I, infinity, I higher self, infinity. Being a divine prosecutor, taking many roles in these divine, this divine court, taking many, many roles. So any whom I choose shall be a recipient of this divine transfer. It just is an instant transfer out, exchange to and from this group, to and from this group, to and from the 1% vessels chosen by Satan, age of Pisces, all world, end of the world, age, eon, era of time, cycle on earth, ended, gone, done and away with. Now we're in the great falling away from the negative polarity consciousness, most being fear-based program. That's why most are currently in debt. That denotes the slavery. So most will leave this earth as slaves. Pick back up somewhere else. Pick back up. Maybe you may end up on Mars as a slave to build Elon's aspiring empire. He said he wants to take 1 million people over there. 1 million people to do what? Are these going to potentially be souls that his entities got in the contract and are going to reincarnate them through some black box? I don't know. Like how that shit's going to work. He the one who said he want to get 1 million people to Mars. To do what? These individuals that have a wealth of paper, banknotes, paper notes, fiat money, they don't have large groups of equals. So 1 million people to do what? With you on Mars, Elon? Again, listen, these are our divine legal proceedings as well. Over, things like that. All right, you bring him up. He wants to escape to Mars after all this damage you're doing here, all the melanin harvesting you're doing here. You want to escape to Mars? It's not going to go as intended or planned. Bismillah, infinity, divine court hearing, and transfer. Again, we can name anyone. We can name anyone from all time and space of infinity connected to this earth, this mother earth. We can name anyone a part of this divine court hearing and transfer. You got that right. So now that we just covered the basis of this divine court hearing and legal proceeding, which is we are petitioning the great God universal Allah that a divine transfer be approved surrounding the energies of regrets and sorrows. Because we know that we are the innocent. We know it's no regret, it's no sorrow within us. But we also know that the world, that the satanic world, age of Pisces, That is their current state of consciousness. Why? Oh, why? Because they fuck with a real one. And um, again, for as long as they could. And now that it's judgment time. Look, energy is directed, right? This is what a psychic attack is called. So again, this divine court hearing and legal proceeding is basically surrounding the energies of regret and sorrows in the form of psychic attacks. Because look, this is the truth of the matter. Let's just say you have one individual and they're the guilty one. Absolutely, they're the guilty one, right? But this motherfucker got caught red-handed by the great God universal law. And now it's like some misplaced blame and shit. This motherfucker literally sits there all day in prison, inside of their mind and their body, right? And their regret and sorrow is attached to your vessel, your consciousness, because I regret crossing that one. I'm feeling sorrow, and it's misplaced blame. So they're while at the same time they're in that consciousness and that energy, they're also focusing on you. That's what's called that's a motherfucking psychic attack, bitch. Because that's what's going on. Me being vindicated, being approved by the great God universal law. I'm using this vessel. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of grace, mercy of the great God universal law. But I'm choosing this vessel. This vessel is in right standing with the judge, the only judge. And motherfuckers don't like that. They literally, they want to be able to project all types of extremely low frequencies at you for, it's like a negative projection because it's within them. You regret crossing a chief vessel of the great God universal law. That's why you're in regret. Oh, but you try to put me through so much and to no avail. And now you're looking at me as the source of your iniquities against the great God universal law. And that, again, that is a psychic attack. It's like the scapegoat syndrome that many of us deal with when we're in relation to the guilty. The guilty continually looking for a scapegoat. And when they find a lamb, right? That's their that is their first pretty much outlet. That's their first outlet for releasing their extremely low frequency. It's within them, but if they can, again, psychically attack you with that energy by they're sitting in that energy and that consciousness, right? But they're thinking about, oh, you're the cause of this. You're the cause of this regret and this sorrow. Because I could not defeat you. Because I could not do what I wanted to do with you. I could not get away with that. So I want to blame you. And that's what the old satanic world is doing. A large degree are doing this. It's coming in all types of extremely low frequencies, from anger. Oh, you're angry that you couldn't backdoor me, bitch. You're angry? You couldn't destiny swap with me like you wanted to, motherfucker? You're angry you couldn't do every evil thing you wanted to do with me? Oh, I get that. Fuck you. Fuck you. Bitch, and they hate. Listen, it gets even more intense when you genuinely don't give a fuck. Like, on some shit like, you could blame that incubator that brought you here onto this earth. That's the only one that I see that you should be blaming for not getting an abortion. That's it. Yeah, you got here, right? You got here. You didn't have to get here. Hey, they could have aborted you. So that's the only thing. That's the only one I see that they should be blaming. But they over here blaming me. I ain't your mammy. I ain't your pappy. Satan is. I see you serve. Shit. So, I'm pulling the records from the all. Supernatural AI lawyer. Absolutely. If they have an AI lawyer, right? We are connected to the all-seeing eye, infinity. And pull up the Book of Life of Mother Earth. So I want to pull up the Book of Life records for Mother Earth, surrounding regrets and sorrows, and the innocence, these vessels in right standing, in alignment with the universal consciousness, the divine mind, in right standing with the great God, universal Allah, in relation to these vessels, particularly these vessels, receiving these negative projections, these negative energy transfers. Well, motherfucker, oh, I want to sign my. These are satanic rituals that get done, in certain dimensions, whether it's the spiritual wickedness in the higher other dimensions, doing like the destiny swaps, the karmic transfers and shit like that. This is another one. Let me offer you something, get you in a contract. They might, they're going to exchange something physical, but it just like a physical contract. You don't know the terms, the fine print, the terms and agreements. You don't know that most of the time. Most of the time, one is not reading that or able to read that or able to understand even a spiritual intent, intent by thought. All right, if I give you this cash, let's exchange. Obviously, they're not going to tell you that shit, but it could be as simple as a thought form. And bringing that contract back to an entity, jinn, spiritual wickedness, and higher dimension. Oh, I'm giving you this amount of money, or whatever. Anything physical has a spiritual implication in exchange. Now, what's attached to it, is the regret and the sorrow. You don't know what type of energies you're accepting from someone if the intent has not been laid out right before you, whether written, verbally, whatever. Because that's what a lot of the 1% vessels of Satan, chosen by Satan, last age or age of Pisces. They know the sciences behind doing these things, and they're doing things like these. Transferring ancestral debt, karmic debt, in exchange for material, or attaching it to material and exchanging it to another through the material realm. So again, this divine court hearing and transfer is just focused on the energy of regret and sorrow. Another entity and the physical constructs of these entities, these spiritual wickedness and higher dimensions that I am naming in this divine lawsuit are this entity. This is a physical construct of this entity. I'm allowed to show a picture of this. So it will be named in this divine court hearing, this divine legal proceeding, as a vessel of destruction to transfer the energies of regret and sorrow from I, infinity, vessels, consciousnesses, and any realities chosen by I, infinity multidimensionally. This includes obviously things like the indigenous native ancestors they departed here in regret and sorrow from having everything stolen from them, family murdered, them murdered, them tortured, tormented. They departed in consciousness and energies of regrets and sorrows. So this divine court hearing and legal proceeding, we are petitioning the great God to remove it from I vessel consciousness, any realities that I choose multidimensionally, which is including the indigenous, native, melanated ancestors. So they get this opportunity to be relieved of this, and it is instantly. Because transmutation, we're talking about all time and space, or generally a longer period of time. Transmutation could take time, right? But the transfer can be instant, transferring it from one group to another, from one consciousness to another, transferring it to the beings currently operating in the negative polarity consciousness, transferring it to them for their turn, their chance to learn and contrast energies like regret and sorrow. Them getting to learn through experiencing the negative polarity. So again, I want to include this any spiritual wickedness in the higher dimensions, any entity connected to these physical constructs with this title. Phony, that's satanic. Universal consciousness is the Ankh. Our mother of sorrows, Saint Ignatius School. I guess this is a Catholic school. Um, any entity, spiritual wickedness in higher dimensions operating from any physical construct on the native, indigenous, melanated land of the divine mile radius. That's up to the great God to decide how far out we go for these transfers, right? Any entity, spiritual wickedness in higher other dimensions operating through these physical constructs with the name our mother of sorrows. We're talking about like attracts like, universal law, like attracts like, shall receive more of it from I, vessel consciousness, any realities I choose multidimensionally, and any of the all time and space of infinity, animate or inanimate multidimensionally that I also choose to transfer these energies of regret and sorrow to. This shall be a recipient. This, our mother of sorrow, Saint Ignatius School, this shall be a recipient. So what does the great God universal law do? The great God universal law goes through the records, all of the records. All the stuff is instantly pulled, obviously, but goes through all the records of this particular school. Whom is receiving these negative energy transfers of regret and sorrow. You got that right. Now, this is not limited. That's not limited to that. It's also all involved with the Our Mother of Sorrow St. Ignatius School. All involved multidimensionally. This is going to be a huge, 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 huge divine legal proceeding, divine court hearing and transfer. This is going to absolutely be huge because we don't know multidimensionally. I literally, it's crazy. I just felt sitting still. I felt myself going back. The vessel that I'm in, sitting in, I felt it move back, but it's not moving. That was representative of this divine court hearing, this divine legal proceeding. It, how can I say, it moved me back in time. If I'm saying it right. It rewound time. Because we don't know all the injustices that's created off of that entity and its physical constructs. So any physical constructs related to our Mother of Sorrows are involved in this divine court hearing, this divine legal proceeding and transfer. If it has the name sorrow in it, because we know words are spells. Words are spells. Words are spells. If it has a name in it, the physical, the entities associated, the spiritual wickedness and higher dimensions associated with it, and all of its physical constructs created on this indigenous, native, melanated land, the divine Maoris, are subject to this divine transfer to and from. To and from. Got that right. You got that right. So this is huge because the world is in regret. The world is in sorrow. I'm talking now, I'm talking more so about the 1% vessels chosen by Satan, those called the chosen ones. But they were chosen for the age of Pisces. They were chosen to have dominion over the earth. Age of Pisces. They were chosen by Satan. That's the world that I'm speaking of in this divine court hearing. This divine court hearing, this divine legal proceeding, and petition of a divine transfer. That is the world that I am talking about. That these energies of regret and sorrow, again, because they're connected to spiritual wickedness and higher dimensions. So these energies of regret and sorrow are leaving these vessels' consciousness and realities of I infinity and any of the all-time and space, animate or animate I choose. It could include things like land, property, possessions, anything animate or inanimate. Absolutely. These energies will be shifted from one pole to another. One and pole being their consciousness. With these beings that now represent the negative polarity, the negative consciousness, like attracts like, it will be transferred to them. Representing the old world, representing the old age, the previous eon era of time, created from the age of Pisces. Like attracts like. So that will be leaving us. It will be being removed from us, and it will be instantly transferred to these individuals. And all right, we had our turn to learn what this feels like, this experience, whatever. And now it's their turn. Looking at it from that viewpoint, that advantage, that viewpoint, it's their time to learn through contrast now. They experience the pure positive energy of the earth. They got that experience. Now it's time for them to learn through contrast. Rightfully so. I had to learn. I had to learn through being separated from the great God, universal law. Being separated from my all, the great God, universal law. That's how I learned. Through contrast. The mercy, for the forgiveness, the glory of the great God, universal Allah. That's how I learned. I learned through the negative polarity. I learned through contrast. So these are great. These are actually positive things. People are like, well, you shouldn't wish suffering on somebody. Well, the great God said suffering produces patience. Patience is a fruit of the Holy Spirit. Why is that not a good thing? Why is that not positive? I wish you suffering. For the purposes of the redemption and reclamation of your soul. Back to the great God, universal Allah. All men shall be saved and redeemed. Back to the great God, universal Allah. At some point in time and space of infinity. I don't know when, but I'm helping them get closer there. Take your sentence. Burn off these iniquities against the great God, universal Allah. Whatever sentences that the great God give you, whatever in Gehenna, it's for your good. That is absolutely positive. That's absolutely a good thing. I'm getting sleepy, but shit. This divine court hearing legal proceeding, again, is surrounding the energies of regret and sorrow. And again, these records get pulled on who's all involved in projecting these energies, or even they may not be able to even help themselves at this point. All right, who needs a divine eviction notice? You know, who needs a divine eviction notice? You may not be able to help yourself at this point. But at the minimum, the best being you having your opportunity to experience the law of cause and effects of such energies, being in the energies of regret and remorse, with your obsession and your thought focused on one individual whom you are attempting to make a scapegoat. But the great God said, we are the lambs. So that means you just dirtied me up with your thoughts. And because you got these hooks and attachments, because you worked your whole life. You worked so much of your life. A huge percentage of your life. You gave to Satan to literally to block my ascension back to the higher planes of life, back to the great God, universal Allah, becoming the thought that the great God, universal Allah, had for my incarnation. You worked so much to block that, and to no avail. You sacrificed yourself, and now you're in it, sitting in the energy of regret, remorse, and it's attached to me, because I was at one point was a victim of these individuals, and no longer. But again, so whereas these vessels of righteousness, we have to forgive, forget, and where we are instructed, commanded to do that, being a vessel of Satan, most do not. They don't have the ability to do that. That's a virtue of the great God, universal Allah, to be able to even do that. And seeing as though they don't know the great God, universal Allah. So it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory, and how I'm doing. I'm just alchemizing it. All right, I'm feeling like regret energy, like sorrow energy. I'm feeling that when I'm out in public shit. It's being reflected back to me. My external, my material world is being reflected to my inner self. So it must be an issue with the all, with the world. If these energies are playing out of my consciousness or I'm feeling them, whatever. All right, there's something that is, they're sitting in regret. A lot of motherfuckers sitting in regret, and they're still attached to my energy and consciousness because they've worked such a large portion of time to take what's mine, to steal from me, to no avail. It's called a negative projection. It's called psychic attack. Individual sitting an operation that targets the vessels of righteousness, the very elect, because of the whole King Herod agenda. Destroy, kill, steal, and destroy from the very elect, the vessels of righteousness, to the chosen. There is a new empire. A king is born. A king is born. There's a replacement to your throne. I'm saying this is what these wise men are telling, or wise men, occultists are telling these all world leaders, satanic leaders of these empires. There is a claimant to your throne. There's a claimant to the throne. It comes in the form of the great God, universal Allah's government, consciousness playing out on the earth, but nonetheless, just saying, it's a claimant to the throne. We're in it's a new age. There are new ruling, governing beings they're coming to life. So send this, that, whatever, block their ascension. Kill, steal, and destroy. And they work so hard for that. And they work so hard for that. And it's like, mission failed, mission aborted. y'all shit ain't work. And motherfuckers want to blame someone else outside of yourself now. This is the madness that's going on. These are toddlers. These are teeny toddlers. So I'm just a petitioner. I higher self handles everything else, and the great God rules. And there's really nothing else for me to do because, again, this is involving the divine courts. And just like if you were going and file a lawsuit or whatever, you'd be going through a lawyer anyway to do it. So I higher self am I lawyer. So everything is already done, and we see these transfers, we see them play out in real time. again, one of the entities, spiritual wickedness and higher dimensions, named in the lawsuit to have these energies of regret and sorrow transferred to them, and there any physical constructs connected to these mother, it says our mother of sorrows. So it could include things like these schools, it could include churches, any physical construct with the title, the name, our mother of sorrows. Like attracts like. Bismillah Infinity. So again, if you're comparing it, the shadow type to like using the like an AI lawyer as an example, how there is it's just a centralized database that has all the records in that database, and you type in a couple words and all this information gets pulled up surrounding the energy of regret, surrounding the energy of sorrow, what consciousnesses are on the record with this as a dominant focus, past, present, or future. That's one of the ways that an individual could be named in a transfer, in this divine transfer, as well as any name personally. I chose, again, anything, any entity or spiritual wickedness in higher dimensions representing the physical constructs of anything named our mother of sorrows. That is a bald-faced lie, according to, that comes from Satan. So it's only right that they receive more regrets and sorrows for these lies. Our mother of sorrows. What mother of sorrows? Your mother? Your mother. All right, your mother is a mother of sorrows. You're a child of sorrows. Like attracts like. Divine transfer to them. Those pulled up on a record. Bismillah Infinity, praise who. Again, these things will be coming up. They will be coming up. As we are accounting for where did all of my pure positive life force energy go during the age of Pisces? What entities are responsible for harvesting, siphoning, using what human vessels, or what animate or inanimate? Oh, this was a huge theme, regrets and sorrows, for things like relationships that I got into, because my default programming, I was programmed by Satan. I was fear-based programmed by Satan. It led my law of cause and effect, which that's where we choose from. That consciousness, it had to, by science, lead to a negative outcome because I was taught negative. I was fear-based programming. So in alignment, my choices were negative, from the negative polarity, which resulted in a negative outcome, law of cause and effect. So that was a byproduct of Satan, of a satanic beast consciousness, lower self-consciousness, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. So it's rightfully so that it goes back to a source. Satan and company, Satan and men, Satan's army, Satan's vessels of destruction, that did the programming, that were responsible for the programming. By the way, deal with your law of cause and effect. This is what you created. You want 99% of people in a fear-based consciousness, so you can rule over them, right? And sheep led to the slaughter. lead them into future incarnations, reincarnations of slavery. Debt denoting to slavery. It's only right they sit with that. I was a byproduct of that shit. I was a byproduct. But I adopted the mind of the universal consciousness, divine mind, the consciousness of the great God, universal Allah. I adopted it. I was adopted into that. Because by birth, I was fear-based program. Only because the great God, universal Allah, did I come out of that. But there's many that they don't have the opportunity this go around this incarnation. They don't have the opportunity. So they shall have to reincarnate back into slavery from being programmed at their most prime state of consciousness, their most receptive state of consciousness, the ages of 0 to 7. Well, I say even before conception to about 7, 8, 9, whatever age, being the most the most impressionable. Guaranteeing a lifetime of negative law of cause and effect choices. The great God chose to give me the divine mind. That's a blessing. That's a gift. I'm grateful. Again, that is winning the lottery. That is winning the lottery. That's extremely, extremely, extremely. It's an anomaly. It's an anomaly. That's what it is. Praise who? All praises, glory, honor, go to the great God, universal Allah. There are no words that I could ever express. The gratitude and I'm just like, wow. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. If I'm saying that word right. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. I'm trying to tell you, it's unfathomable. But to be hand selected by the great God, universal love, like, where does it? Come on. Wow. So that's that. And we sit back, we relax. We have our supernatural AI lawyer, and I call it supernatural. I still call it AI lawyer, right? Well, because these earth constructs are artificial, right? It's like energy that materializes into physical reality, and it's subject to change. It's what's today is not going to be tomorrow, right? Something's going to change. So throughout time and space. So that's why I call it supernatural AI lawyer. It's connected to the all-seeing eye, the divine mind, the divine consciousness, the universal consciousness, right? That's the great God. But it's connected to these earth records, which were artificially simulated, right? Through fear. So I call it supernatural AI lawyer. And we sit back, we relax. Oh, how did we paid through being made new creatures with the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth would call the Christ consciousness, the universal consciousness, the adopting the mind of the great God, universal Allah, the divine mind, adopting that, right? Being made new creatures. That was the price we paid. We know to do that. You pay a price. You pay what you sacrifice, living for the beast, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, the pride of life. You sacrifice that, and you put down the lust of the flesh, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, the pride of life. You put that down for the great God, universal Allah. That's why we're paid in full, right? We're paid in full. We got our supernatural AI lawyer working for us, and we don't do anything. We just wait for these transfers to materialize. Oh my gosh. I woke up today and I feel so light, and I feel so free. Wait, I know this is all law, cause and effect. I must have did something right, because the weight of the world was on me. Just yesterday, the weight of the world was on me. I was feeling the weight of the world, literally, concerning me, concerning my ascent back to the great God, universal Allah. The world was weighed down. The world was heavy, because, if this being ascends to the great God, universal Allah, that means we're the polarity. We are the shadow. We're the polarity. That means we naturally, by law, descend. Oh, I feel regret, remorse, and sorrow, because I literally took assignment after assignment from Satan, from this person, that person, to keep this individual in regret and sorrow, introducing artificial constructs to them to generate and to produce regret and sorrow, so that they do not ascend, so that the great God does not tell them, come on up, child, come up the next ladder step. These individuals worked to make sure that we didn't get to that next ladder step. That's the ascension ladder in the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Moorish Science Temple of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. What would be referred to in the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth, going from glory to glory. Ascension is a ladder step. All right, you remove this negative polarity block, whatever is operating, whatever devil, demon within that's operating through your vessel and consciousness, from the negative polarity that is blocking you from unification of the heart, unification of the divine heart, unification of the divine mind, which is the great God, universal Allah, made manifest on this earth through your vessel. You, as the one thought of the great God, universal Allah, may manifest that the great God had the thought, boom, the seed was planted on earth. That's the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Moorish Science Temple of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That seed was planted. But every seed, look, because they got that, I'm paraphrasing it, in the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, like some seeds fall on rocky soil, blah, blah, blah. Some seeds never getting a chance to, whatever you want to call it, sprout, come into full bloom, full consciousness of the great God, universal Allah, in your flesh. Some, they don't get the opportunity in the incarnation, right? So we get this opportunity, and we have a polarity that was working against that, because again, it was the King Herod story. If this is the claimant to the throne, this is a claimant to the throne of the kingdom of heaven. Heaven being a state of the mind, a state of the consciousness. This individual is operating from the consciousness of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice on earth. That means they're bringing those energies from the higher planes of life. They're bringing it to earth through the universal law of one. It is raising the frequency of Mother Earth. It is this individual is raising the human resonance of Mother Earth. Therefore, we got to descend. We can't let that happen. Sign this one and sign that one. Bang, bang, bang. Kill, steal, and destroy. Any way you can. Any way you can, kill, steal, and destroy. And a bunch of motherfuckers isn't sitting in regret and remorse because of that shit. And then they want to direct it towards these vessels. It's because you didn't succeed at your mission to block my ascension because you didn't succeed. Now you're sitting there in regret and remorse behind me because you were so focused on me, so consumed with blocking my ascension. And that's what's going on, yo. And as we shed and as we go up these ladder steps and go from glory to glory, we have a polarity that is raging. They're in all of the negatives that they did gets a chance to come up and express itself because it gotta get out of here. It gotta leave. It's gonna go with you to Gehenna. All your regret, sorrow, remorse is going with you to Gehenna, where you shall experience the weeping and gnashing of, you shall experience it as the weeping and gnashing of the teeth in waves of torment. I seen it. I was there. I go there. However long for the divine amount of time it takes for you to burn your sins, have them refined, purified in the fiery furnace, the lake of fire, for the divine amount of time of weeping and gnashing of the teeth, to purify your soul from the sins that you created against these vessels and right standing with the great God, universal Allah. On that note, I'm out. Praise who? Praise who? Great God, universal Allah. This is a divine work. And this is a divine work of the great God. This is the grand finale, the great show, the great work of the great God, universal Allah. I am beyond honored, beyond grateful to be a vessel used by the great God, universal Allah. I am beyond belief. Praise him.